props, all the things. Here we go. Hey my friend, real quick note on today's episode. Here's the deal, I picked a bad location. I filmed on the back of my patio. The audio is not great. The video's not great either. But the information is worth it. So hang in there. Thank you for sticking with me. Enjoy the episode. Hey, what's up my friend? Welcome back to the channel. Happy whatever day today is for you. Man, I hope that whatever's going on in your world is a good day. I intend to start conflict today.
I'm going to pick a fight.
And it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful because we're going to talk about a subject that almost every human being above the age of what is tragically probably 10 knows what it is to participate in the beautiful beverage that is coffee. Oh man, I am like, we're going to see how this goes. What I want to do in this video is let me back up. What I want to do is break this coffee discussion up into 2 episodes. And the first episode is more like philosophical. Like, how do we approach coffee with an attentive, informed mind so that we can implement, these beautiful things into our daily soul care routine in a way that's beneficial and not diabetic. Yes, so that's what I want to do. Today I want to talk a little bit more just kind of like the whys and the hows of coffee. And in next week's episode I want to talk about practical application, like how do you utilize caffeine? How do you utilize coffee in a way that's nourishing to the soul and the brain and the work day and the life day? How do you do that and not become just another cog in the machine? Before we dive in though, I want to show you some of the really cool things I've been able to photograph this week as I am out and about. Welcome back. So I love sharing those things with you because it's really easy where I live to make the excuse of like, this is just kind of a mundane, plain place that I live. But really, every place is rife with beauty. Every place on this planet has something beautiful that's worth capturing. And that's one of the things that I've been learning in taking these photographs, and it's a joy to share that with you. Now, let's talk about coffee. Man, and what I want to say about coffee is really just about increasing awareness as to what it is that we're doing. Now, there's a whole science behind adenosine and caffeine and your brain and sleep and all of these things that really smart people are already talking about. For example, Andrew Huberman. You guys know I follow his work, and he is infinitely smarter when it comes to this discussion around caffeine and using caffeine as a tool and not a crutch. I will link in the description below one of his podcasts where he talks about specifically the use of caffeine in coffee. And if it looks like I'm shaking a little bit, it is because it finally got cold in Texas and I'm not quite ready to wear a jacket yet, but that's okay. So what I want to talk about is just elevating your self-awareness. I think most of us in today's culture are utilizing caffeine as a crutch because we're living lives that are perpetually exhausted. And then what happens is you get places like this and that are capitalizing on our broken system. And they're turning us into cogs in the post-industrial machine, just like so many other things. And you need to understand, like, this is my cup of coffee in the morning. This is like 14 ounces. But this is all I have, period. After this, Dunskies, right? Like, no more. I don't know why I said it that way. I don't do any more coffee after that. And this cup of coffee happens at probably 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. And when I'm finished with that, I'm done. No more caffeine after that. But the reason that you're utilizing these different caffeinated options, like, I'm shocked at the number of students that I teach who are showing up today in school chugging that. And I'm not even gonna say the name because, one, I don't want to get in trouble, and two, I'm just grossed out by these companies that do not care. They do not care that you are beyond exhausted. They do not care that the products that they're offering you are harmful. They do not care that they are selling you liquid diabetes. That's what bothers me about the caffeine system in our culture in 2024. It's super frustrating. And so, yeah, I put in the title, coffee, ... You're probably doing it wrong, because more than likely, maybe you're aware, maybe you're not aware, but you're just another cog in the coffee drinking machine. And nobody in those companies cares whether that's a good thing for you or not. They only care about your dollars. So if that's true, how do you elevate, how do you change the utilization of your daily coffee? I have my cup every day. I will tell you, I did try going without coffee. I made it 90 days. The first 30 days were horrible. Probably some of the worst 30 days I've had in a very, 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 very long time. Now, there's a whole discussion about that. The next 60 days weren't bad, but for me, there was something about the way caffeine sharpens my system for the day, because I use it in a very specific way. And that's what I want to try and help you do, is to figure out, okay, how much coffee do I actually need? What are the reasons that I'm so tired that I need coffee all day long? And what do I do to break out of the system? That's the question, right? So how do you become the arbiter of your, the gatekeeper, that's a better word. How do you become the gatekeeper of your own caffeine use, rather than relying on all of these external sources that are only trying to monetize your dis-ease? What I would say is, number one, figure out why you're so tired. And then, now, okay, shameless plug, go check out my videos on sleep. There's a whole series on how do you fix your sleep, what are some tools that you can utilize that will make your sleep better. But I guarantee you the number one reason you drink so much coffee or caffeinated beverages is because you're tired. And again, go check out Andrew Huberman's work and figure out what it is exactly that coffee and caffeine and all these caffeinated drinks, what they do to the brain. And then go figure out how to fix your sleep, because if you can fix your sleep, you can fix your coffee addiction. And then what I would say is change how you're engaging with that product. What are you using? What are the things that you do? How often do you go by one of these fly-by coffee shops that don't even serve decent coffee just so that you can get a sugared up caffeine hit and stop using those? Now, maybe you're drinking 5, 6, 7 cups of coffee a day and you'll tell me, my coffee doesn't really impact me, or my coffee doesn't bother me. It doesn't keep me from sleeping. And the reality is that's probably not true. It's probably messed you up. You've just adapted, and it no longer seems abnormal when it probably still is. So what do you do then? Well, number one, slowly back that coffee up, right? One of the things that I've learned that shocks my brain is just how long caffeine remains in the system and what it does to the brain. And so for me, I'm making sure that all of those chemicals, and I don't mean that in a negative way, I mean just caffeine is a chemical that affects the brain, And there's a lot of good that can come from that if it's done well. But my point is, like, I'm trying to make sure that all of the work that caffeine has done in my brain is finished before I go to bed. But that requires me to be intentional about when I intake my caffeine pretty early in the day so that I'm set up to go to sleep well, so that tomorrow I don't need more coffee because I'm well rested. And that's all I want you to do. Like, if you don't do anything between now and next week when the next coffee video comes out, just start paying attention. When are you getting tired? When is the midday slump hit for you? When do you feel like you need the next hit of coffee? How much coffee are you drinking? When you drink that coffee, how do you feel? How much sugar is in the coffee that you drink? How product up is your coffee? And that's one of the things I'm going to talk about next week. What do I put in my coffee that makes me feel good rather than make me jittery and then crash? All I want you to do, if you really do want to make coffee an important part of your life that doesn't detract or deter your efforts in the world, then just start elevating your awareness. How much are you drinking? How much do you really need to drink? How's your sleep quality? How's your, how much of your life is exciting? Because if you're living the day excited and passionate and full of like, let's go do things, then you probably don't need as much coffee as you think. And be honest with yourself. Is your caffeine intake being done because it's a benefit to your day? It elevates your ability to be productive? Or is it a crutch that you're using to keep yourself propped up because you're living in such a way that you can't even function because you're so tired? And that's a big one for me that I would want to fix for you, is make you less tired so that this thing is no longer a drive-by, fly-by, take my shot and move on, but rather it's this beautiful, aromatic, soothing experience that you get to have in the morning before you start your day. I just hit the coffee pot. But it starts with awareness. Start paying attention. How are you really doing, and what are you using coffee for? Are you using coffee to make your life better, or are you using coffee to keep yourself propped up so that you don't pass out? That's all I want you to do this week. And then next week we'll talk about practicals. How do you make this a nourishing, life-giving part of your day that's not going to give you diabetes in 10 years? Yeah. That's all I've got for you today. I hope you have a fan-frickin-tastic weekend or day or week or whatever. But until then, until we talk some more about this spectacular beverage we call coffee, keep climbing.